Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video, second video on the channel today. I mentioned earlier on, the 14th of June, the transfer window has officially opened. Newcastle released their retained list earlier on today where I talked about the fact that Matty Longstaff will be leaving, Kieran Clark will be leaving, the fact that we are offering new contracts to a few players, but I mentioned, how long would it take for Newcastle to really get into this window and bring a big player through the door? Well, literally a few hours later, a huge exclusive coming out from the Telegraph that Newcastle are getting very, very close to signing the Italian Inter Milan 26-year-old midfielder Nicolo Barella. Wow, this guy is one of the top midfielders in the world, if not, for me, top 5 in his position. This would be insane. The fee discussed by the Telegraph is £50 million. He was massive in Inter Milan season. They went to the Champions League final, lost to Man City, but getting there was a big part thanks to him. They won 2 domestic cups this season. Again, this guy has been unreal over the last few seasons, and this season in particular has been incredible. He can pretty much do it all in the midfield. He can attack, he can defend, he's pretty much box to box. I think a similar player to Bruno in some respects, and could he be the man to not only build on the midfield, but potentially allow us to release Bruno that little bit more as well. So everyone's going pretty crazy online. As I say, the news is just broken. It would be massive, as I've said. It's rumoured that Eddie Howe, doesn't want to just bring players in to bulk up the squad. He wants to go out. He wants to bring in elite players who can join this Newcastle side, not just come in and for the fun and sit on the bench, to come in and really challenge for those, not only challenge for those first team spots, but really to push us to the next level. It's going to be a big season, a very big season for us. We were so good last season in getting in that top 4. We want to do it again. We want to get top 4 again, even push the boundaries on how much further we can do that in the league. We want to try and push in the cups, and we want to try and have a run in this Champions League as well. And Barella would be massive. As I've mentioned, the big strengths of him are box-to-box player, really can play anywhere across the middle. He's pretty much got it all. He can score a goal when he wants. He's not going to score loads of goals in a season, but what he can do is be quick in his passing, part of the counter, going forward, but he can also get back and win the ball as well. And as I've said, to try and build on a midfield that was so good last season, it's not going to be easy to just bring anybody in to compete with a Joe Linton in a Bruno. I tell you what, this guy would really, really, really help us push on to the next step. Now, the Telegraph are reporting that Newcastle are currently in intensive talks with Inter Milan that are currently taking place over the last few days, but there is still work to be done on negotiations. They actually go on to say, could he well become Newcastle's highest paid player at the club? Well, I think for a player that, as I've mentioned, for me, it's, one of the top players in the world at the moment. Just 26 years old, already has 43 caps for Italy, and has been a huge part of Inter Milan's season. I wouldn't be surprised if he may ask for a pretty decent pay packet upon joining the club. But I think that even goes back to the news I've heard earlier on today about retaining players and extensions of players' contracts, and loads of rumours about could Bruno have a new deal, and could Trippier get a new deal, and could Joe Linton get a new deal. And I do think that if we are out this summer looking at to bring in the likes of Barella, and the Telegraph, even in their exclusive release this evening on Newcastle's £50 million link to the Italian player, that Newcastle are still not, as instead of Maddison, this is in accordance to them, alongside Maddison. and that Newcastle could well go out and really push the boat to bring in 2 players in a midfield that has been key for us this season. I think the way Newcastle play, there is so much that goes through the middle. You know, some teams will hoy it up the right and the left, and some might go long, and some will maybe even play. And we do play for the back. There's so much goes through Bruno. And there's so much goes through Longstaff, and we saw it this season. If Longstaff wasn't there, and then someone tries to cover, and someone tries to do that, we need to have, well, I've said it, 2 midfielders for me this summer window. I did not quite expect a Barella and a Maddison. I mean, my God, what a window that would be, and what a pricey window that would be. I mean, £50 million is the fee spoken for him right now. I mean, you know what? It sounds crazy, but I think that's not bad at all. I mean, I think he is so good that I'm surprised that price has been branded. That, if anything, maybe it isn't the greatest thing that it's coming out as an exclusive, because if Newcastle are trying to get this done, hush behind closed doors and go, by the way, it's done and dusted. If other teams start getting a whiff on this, then that could spell maybe a little bit of competition. But like we've seen with Newcastle over previous seasons, we aren't scared to go in there. We aren't scared to get the negotiations started early to try and make these things happen. So you let me know your thoughts on Barella down in the comments below. I think there's a lot of Newcastle fans getting very, very excited. I feel like I am getting quite excited right now as well. But simmer down a little bit, because we know what it's been like in previous summer windows. We've seen the links. We've seen reports coming out on certain players that have come through and then have worked with the Sven Botman ones were spot on. It did take us a bit of time before he got in, but it did happen. I think the Isak one came out a little bit more out of the blue. I feel like the feeling of this one does feel like it has kind of shot out of nowhere, and everyone's kind of getting quite excited over it. I think this isn't going to be the first we hear this. Well, what I'd like it to be is the first and the first signing as well, other than the young Gambian lad. But I would love to see this one fly through the door, and straight away that raises us. It raises us a level for the season. It raises us a level for the summer window as well. If we can get a Maddison or a Barella done and dusted in the first week or 2 of the window, when we're going out and looking at to buy in other players and they're going, what's their intention this summer? Who else are they going to be bringing in? Where can they try and achieve? Not only have we got Champions League, not only are we fighting for another, hopefully fighting for a top spot again next season in the Premier League, in the best league in the world, with a manager in Eddie Howe who's proven that he makes players better, and they've just signed that top midfielder in the world from Inter Milan. Well, yeah, I wouldn't mind joining them as well. So I think it shows real intent from us if we can get a signing like this over the line early on. And that's what we'll hope we're going to see. So you let me know your thoughts on the links to Barella. £50 million down below, exclusive from the Telegraph this evening. It's not a bad way to start this window if we can get something done on this one, is it? Yeah, let me know your thoughts on the links down in the comments below. Is that a player that you would like to see coming in through the window? Do you think it's legit and that it could well be done quickly? Or do you think this is one that's broken? Everyone's got very excited, but to really see it go over the line will probably take a bit of, not only take a bit of work, do you see this one happen as well? It's early days. It's going to be a fun summer. I know that. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Loads of videos coming out, I've no doubt, this summer window. And I cannot wait to start making the confirmed transfer videos when a few names like that hopefully get over the line very soon. Alright, guys, thanks for watching. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the sun. And I'll catch you later.